me.
Dining room table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we just gonna film us having like a reading? It says "Get Real," and yeah, it's recording.
Okay.
Is that the name of this? Get real?
I'm afraid
Oh, what
so.
tangling webs we will have been weaving when first we try our hands at deceiving.
Wait a minute. Is reality objective? How could it be, though? You know, with the whole stuff about quantum theory and chaos theory and everybody arguing with everyone about everything. You know what I mean. If two unbiased individuals are presented with unbiased data, more often than not they'll disagree. But if nothing is really real, how could anything be said to matter? Thus, solipsism becomes nihilism, and nihilism is suicide. However, how do you refute it? There's a story. Someone asks the man, I don't know who the man is, they just ask the guy, how do you refute solipsism? And the man looks at him for a minute, looks down, shakes his head, and then he kicks a rock. And he says, I refute it thus. My point is, that's a solipsist argument. Namely, it's just ignoring what you refuse to accept. This is only reasonable if you don't really believe reality is real. So basically, the only way to defend objective reality is to deny it. And science can't help you, because it only makes sense if reality is constant, which is a given if it's also objective. So not only does anybody know if anything's true, the very act of asking makes it so no one can ever know. How does that work?
Complete this sentence. Cognito ergo sum ergo.
Excuse me? I don't speak Latin.
She doesn't speak Latin.
The question is, I think, therefore I am. Therefore,
English is such a stupid, ugly language anyway. I prefer Latin.
I'm sorry, but if the Romans wanted us to talk like them, they shouldn't have used all that lead in their plumbing. Am I right?
I would say that I think, therefore I am, et decem cum vostrum.
I would just say that I am, and therefore I act accordingly.
Non est sententia tuus est cogito ergo sum?
certe.
I would never make such an arrogant assumption.
And look at this stupid alarm clock. It was built in a factory where no one saw it because it was all built by machines. And from there it was shipped in a box, which was put into by machines also, to a store. Supposing there may have been another alarm clock, an identical one of the same model. If I'd have bought that one instead and done the exact same things with it, could it truly be said to be a different alarm clock? Or supposing that second alarm clock had been shipped by truck, and that truck crashed into a gas truck, and that gas truck crashed into a propane farm, and there was a huge explosion, and everything in the first truck was completely vaporized. Could that second alarm clock even be said to truly exist? Even though no one's ever seen it or touched it. How do I? No, it's real. I could be hallucinating. Was this thing here before? Because I have to remember that my memories are false, unless I can't really know if it was here before. Thus, I declare myself solipsist. How do you refute me? How can I be refuted? Science and logic both demand that there are no positive proofs, and thus absolute denial is the only logical philosophy supported by science. There's nothing really real but what I'm seeing now, and what I'm thinking now. Anything else can be fake, and even those things can be false. I am solipsist. Cogno ergo sum sed non estis quod non cognitus. how do you refute me?
I refute you thus.
Okay.
I'm not moving, no.
Okay,
make sure
go.
I'm in the frame. No, make sure I'm in the frame.
Okay.
Am I in the frame?
Yeah. Good. Oh,
Like the scavenger's feast. Now it's on.
Look at this alarm clock. It's an alarm clock! What else would it be? Anyone who can't tell themselves or their imagination from an alarm clock should be a mental patient, not a philosopher. I act according to reality. Not some mindless fantasy concocted to fit pseudoscientific mind games. Are you gonna tell me I'm wrong? I'm blessed by the godless power of science! I don't need you losers.
Look at this alarm clock. Notice how it ticks off once a minute? Exactly once a minute. That's called objective time. It says here that the Egyptians used to be obsessed with time. They used to build sundials, but they weren't regular. Some hours were longer than others, and then towards the end they figured out how to build clocks, but most of the clocks they found were more complex than they needed to be, and what the Egyptians added made them much less accurate. For the longest time, actually, people wondered how an advanced civilization as Egypt would make such elementary mistakes. Eventually, someone realized that the strangely calibrated timepieces were accurate for keeping subjective time. What I mean is that they would show an hour in the morning, for example, when everyone was busy working, was shorter than a long, lazy, boring afternoon hour in the subtropical heat. Is this wrong? How should I know? How did he die? Snake bite?
Snake bite!
Doesn't look like a snake bit him.
I was there. The foul snake of Herbus bit him, and its venom dissolved away his brain, causing his shriveled loveless heart to stop.
Besides the fact that brain damage doesn't cause cardiac arrest, what you said sounds more like a poorly constructed metaphor than, as they say, an actual account of events. I would believe you, except for the fact that he's covered in blood and you're holding a dagger. However, I'm sure there must be some rational explanation.
Are you questioning me? I was there. I saw him die. Were you there? I'm an objective witness. What I tell you are the facts, exactly as they happened, without any bias or feigned scientific doubt. Whatever I say must be the truth. How can you refute me?
I refute you thus.